Maharashtra takes the occasion of International E-Conference as an opportunity to greet and welcome all the honorable dignitaries and participants here at the virtual platform. The topic of today's International E-Conference is awareness, leadership, accountability, and upholding the law. The college, Sri Kumar Swami College, Ausa, is affiliated to Swami Ramananda Tirth Marathwada University, Nanded. The college undertakes number of activities for the benefit, for the enrichment of students, researchers, teachers, academicians, intellectuals. The World Record Series of webinars and national and international conferences are the part of these activities. All these activities are because of the hard efforts of the chief organizer, Honorable Principal Dr. M. Bedkar, sir. I welcome you, sir, as the today's chairperson of the International E-Conference. I am also happy to welcome today's honorable dignitary, keynote speaker and chief guest, Honorable Nancy O'Neill, ma'am, who is a country ambassador from Canada. The honorable speaker is going to enlighten us on the topic awareness, leadership, accountability, and upholding the law. Now, without spending time, I would like to invite the chief guest for her keynote address and presentation. Please, ma'am, welcome. You please unmute, ma'am.
Oh my goodness, I'm so sorry. I've been up for a while and I'm just a little nervous because this is something that's very important to me. And I look, I've shared it around a lot of places and I'm very thankful that I'm able to do it here. So my name is Nancy O'Neill and I live in Peace River, Alberta. That's in northern Canada. And I have 25 years in education. And I've got 24 living on the First Nation communities. So I filed this case. This is an 82-page document, and there's 4 years of my life in here. It is a very, very vital document. I'm shown that it's something that's going to be beneficial, not just for my country, but for many others. And so I'm just going to go through it and I'm going to talk about a few things. But this whole idea of awareness, it is absolutely vital for citizens in their country to be aware of what is happening, what is taking place in government, in law enforcement, judiciary, medical. This is something that is not, it's being pushed away. It's being taken away from us in society. And as I said, being in Canada, I know a lot of people think that Canada is running somewhat smoothly, and actually it's not. And this court document right here is something that I have opened it and included for everybody in the world. And I want to keep sharing it because it is absolutely a lot of work. This is the case. I'm just going to turn this sideways. I don't know if you can see it, but all these binders, this is what is filed with inside of this case. There is 2,590 pages of documents in there, and that nowhere is the end. Like I have thousands of pages in documents, and reports that I have written that I haven't even printed. Yeah, like I'm a writer. I've written now with 2 different anthology groups. I'm just waiting to be a published author, and it's going to come right away. So I just want to say, look, I know my work. I know my job. I've done my role. And for me to be able to do this and shed light on what society really needs, what our children needs, what our families need, we're not getting it. Sorry, it's early in the morning here. I didn't even have coffee yet, but I've been kind of working away on this. So my biggest hope, I want to bring a voice to, in my country, they're indigenous, they're the first people. And I know that we're on India right now. So I want to pay respect to everyone. And this document, it includes in my country, the poor, like the first people, the indigenous, the Métis, there's Inuit, there's poor, minority, middle class, and the immigrants, because we have had hundreds of thousands of immigrants coming into our country. And I know that they're being pushed into others. And this is part of that awareness. People need to know that it's wrong. And these wars that they're causing and they're pushing forward, they're hurting the innocent. They are absolutely hurting the innocent, and if there's no need of it. This is over lands and resources and entitlements, and this has been going on for way too long, like since they started conquering with the colonization. I'm very well versed in my history. You could ask me anything. I have done my research, and I'm very, very knowledgeable in multiple areas. So I just want to say, I'm just going to thumb through my document here. I actually know the document very well. It's my little guy over there. I've read it over multiple times. I filed 3 filings in the courts. The document went from a 20-page document to an 82-page document. And look, I could read it and I could write hundreds of pages more to tell you on the faults of what is happening under government, under law enforcement, judiciary, the medical services. It is absolutely a game. It's money, and it is greed, and it is power. And one that I am not even mentioning, which is what brought me here to where I am today, and the things that I have done, and the places, and how I continue to push to. This has to come, like it has to come out for people to know, because this can apply in my country. It applies in yours. 100% it applies in yours. And I just want to say, look, there, everything that you see going wrong, and I'll reiterate it over again, everything that is falling in our schools, in our communities, in our healthcare programs, whatever it may be, the money is there. The resources are there. They're not reaching the people. And so many, there's hundreds, thousands, millions of children and families that are being impacted negatively. There's only 1% of the population. They're using these entities to do so. I'm going to get to a section in here where it speaks of the complaints that I have made. Many people, there's no one that you're going to find like me, because I had to fire the lawyers in order to move forward on this case. And they did come after us. Like my children came back to the reservation, which in Canada, the reservations are where they have put the First Nation communities. They are, my goodness, it is absolutely horrific what is happening on those First Nation communities. Sorry. I told myself that I wasn't going to get emotional, but sorry. Anyways, I'm so sorry. Sorry. I'm okay. Yeah, so it's really sad to know the things that I know and what I have lived. And I have lived amongst the people. I suffered like the people. And during COVID, my children came back to the reserve, where I was the leader in the school, the only person in the school. They did illegally apprehend my children through a band delegated on a First Nation community on a closed investigation number 990-227. And if there's anybody that's here in law, judiciary, anything like that, you can search that number. This document is free game. Anybody who would like a copy of it, DM me, talk to Ed Becker. I'll give him the link. He can share it with all of you because I'm a busy lady and I want to get out to protesting peacefully out on the streets and sharing this message because it is vital for people to know what's happening in my country and it is happening in yours. And this is all part of this awareness. So my husband and I were thrown into the court system. They separated us from our family for 1 year. We didn't get to see them, our children, a whole lot. And they did do this to our family on a closed investigation number 990-227. What they did 5 or 6 months later, after I fired, I don't know, 3 lawyers, 4 lawyers, they gave us someone else's investigation number. And I have all that information. It's in these documents. These documents are coded. Excuse me, so sorry. It takes a lot to run this brain. And they're all coded in a Schedule 1. And that again that's in the legal format. They're labeled, they're obtainable like anybody. How to get them on disc. There are 10 judges involved in this case. There's 19 lawyers. There's 5 Crown prosecutors. There is the top reporting agencies in the entire my country and the world. Unfortunately, people might not like to hear this, but United Nations is in there. I have made 3 submissions to them. It is heavily documented in there, and it is for genocide in my country, and it is being silenced. And I, for one, as a mother, look, a humanitarian, an educator, I've been given the gift of medicine for the people. Look, I have learned 6 areas of law inside of this document. There's family, civil, criminal, constitutional, severance. Most recently, my severance office of all days, my birthday, his office committed complete fraud against my person. It is in this document. It's labeled. It's there. I have thousands of pages that can be looked at, verified for fraud. My goodness, if you believe that you are getting a fair just in the judiciary system, it is absolutely not true. I am so well versed in the law right now that it takes dozens of them to go against me. They had to set court for me. Look, I've moved court sittings because of the movements that I have done by pushing through emails and exposing criminal activity in my country. This document, I encourage anyone, read it. It is so factual, it would blow your mind. Like, I was given the gift to do this. I could only do it because I was born into what I refer to as my white culture, my white society. So I had to grow up. I wasn't in a privileged family. My dad worked his butt off. Like, my family was not, we weren't rich people, but we knew how to work. And unfortunately, my mom fell sick, with bipolar, my sister. And I had to grow up really at a young age. And I've worked very hard. And for many people, if they're in a country that is experiencing war or great turmoil or poverty or under poor leadership, tyranny, it's very hard for people to move forward. In Canada, my country was actually, when I was growing up, I thought, I believed in the justice system and the law system. This document, 100%, hands down, shows you exactly what is happening within the judiciary. There is rules, laws, acts, charters, and what they're doing to us right now in society is they make another law, they make another rule. We are being silenced in Canada. Our freedom of speech has been taken. We're getting threatened with life imprisonment for making one statement on Canada and what's happening here. And you know what? I am a mother and I care deeply about humanity, and I will never stop telling. There's there's 4 chiefs in here, but there's others. All these nations that I've worked in, I have been the backbone of the school, the connections, because I do a lot of work. I work hard. I'm smart. I've written policy. I've just done so many things with inside of education, many administerial. And when you're in the reservation and you're someone like me who's willing to give, you get everybody's asking you for help and supports. And I continue to do that because you have to help people in society. And unfortunately, what I've seen and what I've learned, this happened to us during COVID. I will never stop talking about COVID, and I give no offense to anyone, but those vaccinations, the mandates, the lockdowns, that's crimes against humanity. That is genocide in my country and every others. And I know, look, the act of genocide is punishable by 5 years immediately. What is going on? There are all these genocides taking place all over, and nothing is happening. They put it in the courts. They bleed millions of dollars. They feed their pockets. They feed their friends. And those innocent people are getting nothing. That is absolutely unacceptable. It is unconstitutional. It is not democracy. And any of these countries claiming democracy? Absolutely not. Excuse me. I'm sorry, I talk a lot, but everything that I speak of is in this document. And something that is very vital as well, and it's all verifiable here. Anyone can view it. Our case, not just the numbers, they're all run double. And what they did was they made us falsely criminals. They illegally removed our children. They pushed us through the court system. I fought. I fired the lawyers on February 7th, 2022. A lawyer, my family lawyer that we had hired, and I did dismiss him. Him, myself, and another lady were in a meeting. He had taken a claim against me. I counterclaimed against him because he did nothing for my family. He charged us thousands of dollars and he ignored us. He stalled us. Nothing. And the director's lawyer, everybody, look, they're here. I know names, where they work, what their title is, what their role is, and they know exactly who I am because I have served them in multiple ways. And that lawyer had 27 years a lawyer, and the woman listening to the hearing had 35, and she said he had to remove his claim on me. He lost. So if I, a woman of 25 years in education, pretty close to 4, learning the law, he had to remove his claim. Who is upholding the law over here in my Canada? Not so. And all of it is verifiable. Everything that I speak of, I even filed a civil suit, and no offense to anyone at all with what you may choose in your followings or what your beliefs are. I have no disrespect for anyone. I respect all cultures. I respect all nationalities. You're in my document. It's really important that I did file a civil suit April 28th, 2022. You can look it up. In our country, it's Canada. If anybody has any questions, please. I'm so sorry. I'm not all that techie, but I can get you this information. CanLIL, you can Google it yourself anywhere, and that is how they monitor all the cases in Canada. I am labeled on there. I did serve the Queen of England, all 449 members under the House of Commons. There, the Bank of Canada is in there, AMVIC, the Law Society. Look, what would make a woman do all these things? They hurt my family. And I fought tooth and nail. I put us back together inside of 1 year. I removed that supergiant, all those lawyers. Look, I've had a judge in fear of me on October 8th, 2021. He was so scared on that court hearing because I had reported him and dozens of others to the Minister of Justice office. And inside of here, there are 4 Minister of Justice, or 4, 1, 2, 3, I believe. I got to check, that have been in there since Mr. Trudeau, actually just since COVID, 3 of them verifiable in here. I have email correspondence. When I served them all individually at the House of Commons, 449. I did my work, I did my homework, and everything is based on, look, the RCMP levels. I have the sergeant right here in this town of Peace River, Alberta, a constable who worked with the band delegated to go against my family legally. It's all in here. Look, they doctor everything. I have the RCMP, both those officers. I have a retired reservist officer from Drumheller who came up finally after 9 months and took my statement. The commander of K Division, he's the same one that's been there through COVID. He's still in breach of policy. And who else? Civilian review and complaints. You want to verify any of this? It's all in these documents. There, as I said, there's thousands of supporting complaints. And what happens when you're someone like me who can learn, who can maneuver forward, who can pull things together? I took the role of the lawyer. No matter what field of law, I had to protect my husband and myself. In Canada, refer to the Constitution Act of 1982. There is amendments in there, and there's the Charter of Rights and Freedoms. My Indigenous, which I say Indian because he respectfully says we are Indians, accepted. They were very traumatized, hurt, terrorized within this country, and they still are. This document proves it. And anywhere that there is a colonization that is happening, this document applies. If there is war that is happening, if refugees, forced displacement, fires, flood, whatever it is that's being driven. And look, in my Canada, and I'm going to make, sorry, my Canada, I've got to make sure I get this out. When people set fires, it's called arson. It is not called forest fires. And right now, up north in BC, they're up there burning. And it was reported to me from yesterday or whatever, they're up there burning. You can smell the smoke because I'm in the north. Look, this is real. I'm going to speak of it and I'm going to tell everyone, and I want people to really listen. What they're doing is they're burning out those outlying communities, the First Nation communities, the rural communities, and they were going to push them into their towns and their cities. That is Agenda 2030. And this is for the WEF, the WHO, all of you, Big Pharma, all those people that were involved in COVID. You are listed in this document. I am not afraid to speak for the people because millions, billions of people were forced to take those shots and people are dying from it. This is 100% verifiable. And in our country, we have what is called the National Citizens Inquiry. Sorry. I'm pretty passionate about what I do. We have the National Citizens Inquiry. That was not allowed to happen. And just till a few months back, it tells of horrific crimes. People lost their jobs. People were forced to take a vaccination. My Indian husband had to take it and they canceled the job and he never needed it. Now he has to take blood pressure pills. Look, there's people dying. And in our country, they have put that in the immunization schedule and they want to put that in 6-month-old babies. Please, someone, they are hurting all of us and we have to stop it. The only way is together. That is what this document does. Look, I have 24 years inside of reservations. It has given me all the insight into any form or level of government that claims to be democracy. I run in the provincial election. If you believe that there is a real election, it is not. These people are connected through bloodlines to the monarchy. Look, King Charles is in here. This is directed, and I'm sorry not to offend anyone. It is directed to Pope Francis, Justin Trudeau, Arif Virani, the Minister of Justice and Attorney General of Canada. 1, 2, 3. Is it just the 3? It's just the 3 this time. But the reason why in all my journeys and everything I have done, I've been guided by a priest, even though I'm not of Catholic denomination. And he had told me, Nancy, you're going to be the catalyst to tell the world. And I started a long time ago pushing. And you know what I found? Every time I pushed forward to do the right thing for my family and to speak for these 6 nations under this giant tribal council that has only for the last 27 years in operation been stealing their children illegally. And they use the courts and the medical systems. And if you don't think this is happening in your country, I'm sad to say, I know it's happening in your country. It's happening all over the world. My complaints into United Nations, I would share them with anyone. But you know what happens when you make complaints into the complaint departments? If you, United Nations, I'm sure is one, it comes back so small, you have to download it right away, but I have it and I'm willing to share with anyone. The complaints in any place that I had complained or made an official complaint. I even have in my country the Judicial Council for the upper judges. I have also the provincial one. I have 2 chief justices, forged signatures, 100% hands down. Go to Canlil. You can check me out. That's a legal site. And what they did is my first suit was to bring awareness. I didn't know it was going to lead me here, but it just brought me more people. There are over 800 people, I believe, or close to 800 people first named in this document. It is my entire Canadian government. They know who I am. I have a court date on the 29th. Is this judge going to break the law? Because you know what? Sorry, somebody's unmuted. Anyways, if he's going to break the law, I'm going to put this in here and I'm going to add it and make an amendment. And I'm going to go back and I'm going to serve it on them again. Because listen, people around the world, who's ever listening, I encourage you, take this information that I have brought to you. You share it with your leaders, with your churches, with your, I can't think a lot right now because I've been so focused on this. Listen, I encourage you to share this. I am going to continue to share this. I've had a sign made. I've got cards made. I've got this. I'm going to walk the pavement and I'm going to continue to go to rallies and I'm going to speak and I'm going to get on every platform. Watch for me. I'm supposed to be published twice. This was given to me from above. No one can ever take it away from me. And I will just, this is very important. I'll read a couple of these quickly. I know we just have the half an hour. So through this journey, I had an Indian gentleman come to me. He's from Treaty 6 territory, and he came and took my interview. And he's an elder, and I spoke for 40 minutes on what I thought was happening inside the reservations. And I said, what are you going to do with that? You know? And he said, I'm going to take that back to my chiefs. You're going to save my people. And I thought, that's really strange. And you know what? 4 months later, they illegally apprehended my children on a closed investigation number. And nothing as a parent hurts you more than your babies. I've breastfed all my children, and I've had a cesarean with 5 children. I'm a good mother. And they're doing this to women all over the world. And you want to see brokenness, they're causing it. It needs to end. And a second elder, look, he was from Treaty 8, and I went and I told him because they were doing this to his family. And these are all in the reserves. And I said, look, I'm gonna get this out. I promise. I'm gonna tell, you know. And he said to his daughter, I can't believe this lady's gonna help us. I have hope. And a third one, and this is really close to my heart, which there are many. Look, there's 3 pages of it in the document. An elder, he's from BC, and he used to come to the school. And we would do traditional things and stuff like that with the students, and everything. And I went to him when I filed that case, and I was telling him who was in it, and look, he was smiling at me. And he said, my girl, I'm not smiling because I think this is funny. He said, I went to residential school to meet you because you're going to save my people. And at all costs, I'm going to get this out. And I just want to let you know, please request the document. I'm on LinkedIn. Just give me a minute. I'm on many social media. Look, this document is so massive and it's so powerful. And every time I read it just gets better. But there are government entities, there's everyone in here that should be accountable. You need to read this document. You need to share. You need to get the chance to have a real voice, a real choice, a real life, a future for your children, not eating crickets, bugs, having people do all these things, chemtrails, fires, stealing your land, your resources, your guns, your freedom. Anyways, I just want to say at the end of this document, there's last 2-3 pages. This time I did include every nationality and country of the world. This was gifted to me to learn these things. There is no one that can go against this case. The only way is illegal. And I'm getting ready to serve this on the most top people in my country, federal and all reporting, and I'm also going to be serving this on the International Criminal Court of Justice. So when that is out, I will make that public to other people. I don't stop, I don't quit, I don't surrender, and no child should ever go to bed hungry. They should not be stolen. There's 8 million going missing every year, and I say absolutely not. So I just want to thank you, everyone. I hope I brought insight. I hope people decide, look at this document. It's very powerful, and you're going to see me out there. So I'm going to keep doing the right thing. I thank you very much, and I hope you enjoy your evening, day, morning, wherever you are. Bektar, Mr. Bektar. Are we ending now? I can discuss anything you want. Yeah, I just want, did you want me to talk for a few more minutes, or does somebody have a question for me or anything? Because I could talk forever.
Madam, good evening
Good
from
evening.
India, and good morning to you. As you are an expert in the law, and I'm not expert in the law, but as a citizen, what kind of legal information I should possess as a citizen of India? What are the basic legal knowledge I should possess to defend myself?
So it's really important. Everybody has access to Google, and anything that you are being faced with in the law, I encourage you, go to Google, you search it up. There's videos all over the place that are showing you about the law. The other thing is with the officers, whoever is, if somebody is coming at you with allegations or things like that, you never, ever, ever give statements to any law enforcement. If they tell you to get a lawyer, I say learn yourself and self-represent yourself. If you get a lawyer, you're going to run into what I run into, because I know this is happening all over the world. It is absolutely important, 100%, for you to find out about the law, find out about the rights in your country. Anything is searchable, 100%. You've got to make yourself aware. And if you're somebody who doesn't have high literacy, I'm not saying that you do, but if it's somebody that doesn't have a high literacy, they can watch it like YouTube videos, right? Like it's, everything is there. It's accessible at your fingertips. I don't know how, if there's any regulations or stipulations with inside of your country with respect to YouTube and stuff like that. But there's other platforms where you can learn other things, you can also find and search out news, read up on stuff like that. There's is it the encyclopedia, or there's so much out there. And if you can't access it, every law, like every court, is supposed to have a library, and you can go and you can access that court library. That's free. There's also other services they are supposed to provide you with in the courts. I'm not sure how your legal system works, but there are supposed to be guidelines, right? I'm not well versed on how every country is run. I know that we're a little different, but I do know that inside of your country, there's a lot of suffering. There's a lot of grieving. I'm on LinkedIn, and I've met a lot of people from around the world, and I'm on TikTok, and, I meet people from all over the world, and a lot of them, they're reaching out because they're suffering, right? So I just always try to give words of encouragement. And for many months now, oh, sorry, I got off topic. Sir, if I didn't answer your question, look, please, it's very important to educate yourself on the law. So I've already given you the option if somebody is not a strong reader. Also make your children aware. I don't know what, like I said, in your communities, what's happening, but make your children very aware of their surroundings, what's happening. Be aware and involved in your schools, because there's a lot of things that are happening in my country. Not to say it's happening in yours, but in ours, they are indoctrinating the children. I didn't realize it, but they had been doing it to us here in Canada since we were like all my life. I couldn't see it, right? And even if you look up certain things, Hollywood, Pentagon, all these things, they are involved in movies. They have budgets. There's a lot of things that are happening. People need to wake up to the reality. That's what this document does. This document is so factual that, look, it is absolutely so factual. It's their own documents. And as I stated before, there's 4 layers of documents. So what this does is allows for any case in any country, in any world, set it in front of me. I could teach people how to look at fraudulent documents, Crown documents. If you have the Crown involvement in your area, or if it's courts, laws, whatever, I can look at those documents and I know I see the problem. When they tell you to get a lawyer, you never get to see what's going on. The documents they have shared with me never go to people. They manipulate them. You're better off, don't get a lawyer. Stand for yourself. Speak for yourself. Learn what's going on around you. Learn your rights. Because in my country, I know I mentioned this, but there was 18 charter breaches against my Indian husband and myself in 2.4 years that I filed in the courts. I filed that September 9th, 2022. And the judge right away, the Monday morning, I went in for docket court. We're going to address that. And they made me sit there all day. Like they did this to me it felt like hundreds of times, but when I went to court, I had to sit all day. They would bring in extra people. The judge would call all these extra names, and I knew this wasn't normal. But what it did was give me well over 100 hours of court experience, free. So I learned the lingo. And you can go and Google it if you don't understand what it is. And I'll tell you something else about the courts. They don't want to go to trial. They want to lead up to trial. Why do you think that all this money is going into the courts? And I'm pretty sure I mentioned 960 million. I talk so much, but $960 million a year is going into our national defense. And do you know what our national defense is doing? They are not doing for the civilians. They are doing for the government, officials, elites, and we as humans are suffering for it. Look, the judiciary pulls in 640 million. You can look this up. This is right off Canada's website. $640 million just in that little section. And look, during COVID, it was mentioned to me by an office that we saw an increase in this during COVID. They were doing this to families. They're doing this all over the world. The courts run on contract. The judges make here in Canada $300,000 a year, whether they sit or not. That is absolutely unacceptable. And you have millions of children in orphanages, starving, going to bed hungry, can't access medicine. What is going on? People, look, I swear to you, I worked real hard my whole life and I've done the right thing. I've been an advocate forever. And I really have done the right by the people. And when I filed this 2 years ago, I didn't include everybody, but this time I did. And you know what? I just thumbed to a page. I want to mention in our country, 2 years ago, we had people go to Ottawa to protest, and Ottawa is the capital, and that's where the House of Commons is and all that stuff. And these four gentlemen, they were Coots boys, is what everybody refers to them as. Those four men were arrested on false allegations of threatening or something against a police officer, RCMP. Those RCMP staged the weapons. It's real. There's footage of it. It's silenced in my country, just like the fires are silenced, just like all the stuff that they're doing to the children in the schools. They're trying to destroy our children. They're trying to take away the beauty of a child in the courts of law, and they're penalizing parents. And look, it's real, people. We are a commodity to our government. And if you want to verify, you can look it up. All this mass immigration they're pushing is because people like in our country, the government has swindled us off. All our oil goes into United States. We have to buy it back. Why should we have to buy our oil back in Canada, right? It's our resources are going out of this country and what they're doing. And this is impacting everyone. So here's how we change it and how we turn it around. We keep our resources in our country and we share them and get fair share for them. But the money actually reaches the people. It reaches the services. It reaches the education levels where, you know what, not just because you're a lawyer, you get to go to Harvard. If you are smart and intelligent enough to make it through and you want, but I don't know if we're going to need lawyers. We're going to need people that are doing honest roles. And I'm not saying that everyone is wrong, but if you see a rich lawyer or a judge, for example, when you go into a courtroom, you have to bow to a judge. I don't want anybody to bow to me. I want people to stand beside me, and I want to help every little child, person, man, woman, to be free of the sanctions that are being applied to our person. And I'm going to mention this, and then Mr. Bekdar, I'll let you speak again, or anyone else. In May of 2024, coming up, I think it is the 24th, they are looking to sign over world leaders a pandemic treaty agreement with World Economic Forum, the WHO. And listen, we cannot let that happen because they don't have legal rights over us. Our government is doing it. I can prove this. Please, people need to listen to me. I'm calling duress from Canada, and I'm not going to stop till world leaders come. Every leader should read this document. Every human being that is capable should read this. I'm going to put it in audiobooks. I'm going to do whatever I have to. But I'll just tell you, I forgot my train of thought there, holding that document. It is vital for you to get to make the choice. And I am able to speak for anyone. I can speak for the people. I can do it legally. They cannot go against me or defeat me because you ever hear that statement? The pen is mightier than the sword. I've got the crayons, the markers. I've got the proof. I've got the evidence, and I will do whatever it is in my power to make sure that we save the people. So I encourage you. I talk a lot, but there's a lot in here, and I verify everything I say. And I'm just going to keep going until people listen to me. It's time for us to join together and save the people.
Thank you, madam.
Yes, sir. Hello. Hello. Can can I ask? Yeah. So there was a disturbance. Again, I rejoined, sir. The, hello. I'm audible.
Yes,
I'm
you are.
audible, sir.
Yeah, ma'am.
Hello. Yes. Yes. That was a really a wonderful experience and the journey you have shared to us, Nancy. So that was really nice to listening. Especially about your struggle, the efforts and ups and downs for the people, for the society. And it's a really great service and a great job you have done for the people. And your speech really encouraged us and really motivated us. Really, that was, we have to learn something from you. You're a great leader, in fact. So, so much you have done for the people. Oh my God. God is with you. Really, God is with you, and God is going to lead you and guide you and prosper you, and you'll get success. So my question is, are you getting any government support to do these all service? Like, what are the government is doing? Like, is government helping you, supporting you, or providing anything, or it's the individual work? There's any encouragement or any motivation from the government, because you're doing work for the people, so the government should understand that, right? That was my question. And
I'm sorry. Yeah. You know what? The government is not, they are trying to silence me because I've stood against them. When I did file that civil suit, it was illegally quashed. June 10th, 2022. It's on there. Yeah, it was June 10th, 2022. That was a 30-page document that I filed in the courts, and there was 672 people in there, many entities within my country. All the organizations that claim that they are the reporting agencies for law enforcement, judiciary, medical. I have the head man from the complaints department of the Alberta College of Psychologists. He has, I have forged signatures of him, and he deemed a complaint against another gentleman. He's a psychologist that they use. These are all systems that they use to help the band delegated, and they're also used for the Child and Family Services. And I just want to let you know that no, the government is not supporting it. The government is working very hard to keep me quiet, but if they bring any attention to me, like, then it's going to say, oh, we're up to, right? But I have served this on thousands of people. I'm going to keep serving it. I've spoke on stages all over. As I said, I run in the provincial election. I've been doing this out of my own monetary value. It's been tough because 2 years of this now. And as I mentioned earlier, my severance lawyer, his office was in fraud against me. I did give him the opportunity. I said, you know, it'd be good for you to uphold the law. I don't know. I don't know that they're going to, right? But it's all there. It's in emails, verifiable. So my government, they are corrupt. My government is, it's real. They're in this document. I can prove it. And just that provincial election that I run in, I have a newspaper here where the newspaper did defamation against myself, 4 other candidates. It's in the document. And the politician that was the bought and paid one that's been in there because he'll let them cut all the lands and resources and do whatever they want as long as he goes along with it. They made him look big and bold. And when I said, hey, I'm going to take a case against that, I was told by a lawyer's office, don't bother because they'll bury you in paperwork. And if you think that media in your country is not controlled by the government, I know in mine it is. And during the election, it was just divulged, and you can Google it, that $15,000 of the salary of every reporter in this country comes out of the federal government's office. And so what does that tell you? That tells me that we don't have free speech in my country. I know that it's not in the US, and I'm sure that it's in others. We are very censored on what is happening. There are people protesting all over the world right now, and I'm going to bring that to light. I am a smart lady. I've worked hard, and we deserve better. Every human being deserves better.
You are a great leader. In fact, the reward is going to come from God. The God is watching you. If the government won't help you, the God will help you. God will guide you and lead you. Don't worry. God is with you all the time. Thank you. Thank you so much.
I just want to say, look, I could never do this on my own. I am guided by my faith and belief. Since I was a child, I always said, when I grow up, I want to marry an Indian. And I did. He was very beautiful on the outside, but very broken within. And that's because he lived under 350 years of colonization. So there was a reason for me to go to the reservations, to live there, to live like the women. And my husband now, we've been together, 14 years. He's a very smart man. But there is always traumas in these First Nations, right? That you can't see. And he's very smart. And they attacked our family because we were on the reservation. It's all connected. And he said to me, you know, you have to suffer like the people to help the people. And when they did that to us on July 9th, 2020, 4 months into COVID, they used COVID. There was a plan in motion. It's all illegal. It's here. I stand my words no matter what. I'm a smart lady and I don't back down. And he said, you have to suffer like the people to help the people. And nothing compares. Yeah. Nothing
Nice
compares.
listening to you. Nice listening to you. That's great. So we should.
And if you're a mom, anybody out there, even a dad, an uncle, an auntie, wherever, cousin, brother, sister, to have your children hidden, they hid my children. They took them for 12 days and hid them. It was illegal. Everything, it was a closed investigation. It was a month later. Everything was illegal. It's all right here, verifiable. There's nothing that hurts a mother more to be missing her child. And my beautiful, in Cree is Nihio, which is they're pure people, the Woods Cree, to have their children missing. Some of them, they lost all their relatives in the residential schools, the colonization, the 60 scoop. So many people have shared their stories with me because I listen, I help them write, I help them get their payments, but they're not being treated good in this country and anywhere in any country of the world. I have a friend who's in Uganda, I believe he's in a refugee of 180,000 people. And he said, you know what? When we started listening to you, we have hope. And you know what? I believe that this was gifted to me from above, and he guides me and he shows me what to do. And I get little pieces of the puzzle. And I want to thank you, Bektar, very much for having me here and allow me to speak. And I'm going to share this around, and I'm going to keep going on my social media. But I encourage you, share this. Share this with anyone. Share it with your churches. The document is there. You can print it. It's really important and it's really powerful. Unless there's somebody else that wants to ask me a question, I really believe that I've covered a lot of the things that are in here. And I just want to say, look, we can end all this suffering. We can have our children access to good services, good education, good medical, dental. We can implement the most least intrusive measures into society. Right now in the medical fields, I don't know about your country, I can't speak, but in mine, they use the medical field to control us. It's part of it, these vaccinations, these pandemics. We need to step up. We need to step up together. He made me the voice, and he made me a writer, and he made me work real hard. And you know what? I have to appreciate that. And I just want to say, look, I don't want to go on forever because it takes away, but I just want to let you know that I stand by my word, and I have to do what is right. And being a mother, you can't allow for this to continue. No mother should ever be separated from her child illegally. The Child and Family Services, they are using those. That's child trafficking in my country, and I'm sure it is in yours. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
So I think we're able to go now, Mr. Bektar. I'm good. I've got a million things, but thank you and blessings to all of you. We're going to change the future. Have a good day, evening.
Thank you, Dr. Sir.